you have to enjoy doing it or you're going to get burned out really quickly. In order to grow a community, you're going to have to post really frequently. And so you just need to really enjoy the process, because if you enjoy it, you're going to be excited to create that next video. And that's really what's helped me, stay consistent over the years, is that I really have fun creating these videos.
Welcome back, everyone, to Let's Talk Shop. I'm Ronald with Ryonet, and we have Jennifer Sanderson here from Pigskins and Pigtails. Welcome, Jennifer.
Thanks. It's great to be here.
Thanks for coming out. I'm really interested in your story because you're not a typical screen print shop, right? And you're a little bit different from a lot of the people that I've talked to, over the years. So if you wouldn't mind, tell us a little bit about Pigskins and Pigtails, what it is, what got you started, and just how it's evolved.
Sure. So I've been a lifelong crafter and DIYer. I started when my kids were little, crafting for birthday parties and making things. And I started a blog when I had a business and just needed a fun way to just show off some of the crafts I was making. And at the time, my husband was a high school football coach. And on Friday nights, I would make shirts for my girls who were in pigtails to wear to the football games. And at the time, I had a vinyl cutter, and I would make custom shirts for them to wear to the high school football games. And so that's where Pigskins and Pigtails was born, as on the football field and making t-shirts for them to wear to football games. So I was just crafting my own shirts for them to wear to games, and didn't realize that years later I would be into teaching screen printing. So it just kind of evolved into learning how to screen print years later. But it started as just a mom who liked to craft and cutting vinyl and putting it on a shirt.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. And you've been at it for how long now?
I started that blog back in it was 2000, I guess 2010 is probably was when my first post was made. And it was just kind of a fun hobby on the side. That was back when Pinterest was getting started, and it's just a fun creative outlet to be able to post some photos. I was really into photography and posting photos of projects I was making, and birthday parties, and just anything crafty. I would publish on this blog, and it was, random posts here and there, nothing serious. Pinterest came along. I would pin some of these posts that I was making, and Pinterest started to get popular, and some of those pins started to take off. And so my blog was seeing a little more traffic, and it became a little bit more serious as I was getting more traffic and getting a little bit more views there. But still, it was just really just a side hustle for me, a hobby at that point.
Yeah. So when did you decide, what was the catalyst to you saying, hey, I want to actually create something intentionally to share with this audience and see what happens? What was your first, I guess, thing that you did there with
yeah, well, at the time, I was just kind of sharing things I was making for, for my kids. So it was just what we were into, and just sharing on the back end. So it was just, this is things I've made. It wasn't really intentionally making things to share to get views. It was just this was fun stuff we've made. So that's really what drove the blog for years, was just, here's what I made. I thought it turned out neat. Here's how I made it, if anyone wants to make that. And that's really how I was publishing back then. And then, the first screen printing project was probably where that kind of pivoted my blog and how my business sort of changed from there. So that's kind of a separate question.
Yeah, no, thanks for sharing that. So having people follow your journey, what you're making, what you're doing, people liked that, right? At what point was it that you realized, hey, you have a lot of people that are engaged in your stuff, people are asking questions. I mean, was there a certain time or point in this transition or evolution of what you do to where you thought, hey, I need to start making things deliberately, like for the audience. Was that ever a part of this journey?
Well, so back when I was doing this blog, I really didn't have much traffic or audience at that point. I think I started on Instagram somewhere in that mix of the blog was definitely first, got on Instagram at one point, didn't really have any followers or very much blog traffic at all. It wasn't until I one day decided that I was going to try screen printing and recorded my very first time screen printing. I had always, like I said earlier, I was making shirts with my vinyl cutter and made those for years. I just never really loved the feel of the vinyl on the shirt. Always really kind of favored the feel of a screen printed shirt, and was in the craft store one day and decided just to get a screen printing frame. I had no idea what I was doing, but grabbed a screen printing frame and came home and decided I would try to put a piece of vinyl that I cut on my vinyl cutter on the screen and see if it would work. And I filmed the process. It worked. I was amazed. I made a shirt. I posted that on YouTube and just thought, well, that was cool. I made a shirt. It was a neat process. I was really proud of the shirt. And I was shocked. The next day I woke up and I had tons of views and lots of questions about it. And that's really where my, growth started happening. And it really just snowballed from there. People asking questions about screen printing with vinyl. And so then I published a second video and went out and made more content. And that's when I became a little bit more deliberate about actually learning the process myself and posting as I went on this journey of figuring out how to screen print.
Okay, so Jennifer, at this point, I know that you have on YouTube about 60,000 subscribers, TikTok 70,000 followers, whatever it's called on TikTok, and obviously it didn't happen overnight. I keep talking about the evolution, but over this 10-year span, at what point did you say to yourself, "Hey, I have this platform, I've got an engaged audience. What can I do to bring value to them and also make a living off it myself?"
The followers and the social media it really just started snowballing. When I posted that first video, it was really just to showcase something that I thought was cool that other people could learn from. It wasn't really, I didn't post it thinking, oh, this is a great business idea, or I really want to, pivot my business and get into screen printing. It was really just an idea that I thought was cool and wanted to share it with people. So as that video went really well and people were asking questions, it just was really people asking questions and I wanted to help them. And so it just kind of snowballed from there, and I'd get other questions. And so I would go out and learn more of the process so that I could help that person. And it was really just to continue learning myself. I was really excited about what I made and I wanted to continue making more things. And so I was just publishing videos as I was excited about this process and what I was figuring out. So it wasn't for a while that I, really looked at it as a business opportunity. But there were some moments where I got a call from a big brand and I was like, whoa, they want to work with me on a video. And
who's that big brand?
I got a call from Hobby Lobby,
okay,
a place that I had shopped for a long time, and they wanted to work with me. And I was working with Speedball products and reached out to them, and they wanted to work with me. And those were moments where I was like, wow, there's some opportunity here to not only continue to be able to share educational content, but also be able to make money doing that, helping a brand promote their products, but also being able to share content that was helpful to my followers and be able to afford to do that. So it started to evolve into something that I could afford to do and spend my day creating the content. So as it really just kind of fell into my lap initially, because I was really just doing it out of just the joy of learning this process for a while.
Sure.
And then it really was building a community of people that were just as excited as I was in making this finished product. They were excited, I was excited, and so we just kept, experimenting with different methods and different techniques, and it was fun to create. It was fun to post videos and see what people thought and hear feedback from people who had tried it, and then getting comments and feedback on questions people were having on what was working and what wasn't. It was just giving me a challenge on trying to help troubleshoot some of that. And really that's just what's kind of kept me going this whole time. And then the fact that I was able to, work with brands and that allowed me to do this full time was just, a bonus in all of that.
What I'm curious about is, as you started to work and have partnerships with different companies, were there some lessons learned? Were there some like really didn't work out? And then
so as I was, going through this process of posting videos, as I was learning the process myself, I was really just sharing the products and things that I was using. I was picking up from the craft store and figuring out as I was going. I was watching videos and learning the process. So as I was using products that worked for me, those were the products that I was sharing. And that's still true to this day. The products that I share are the ones that I've tried that I know work, and that's what I personally use. Those are the ones I feel comfortable telling people about and sharing. I don't want to just pick up a product and show it off and sell it to people just for a partnership. I really believe in sharing products that I will honestly use. These are what work for me, and I stand behind those because that's what I use personally when I'm screen printing. And that's really important to me. I want to be able to show the process in my videos. This is how I do it right from my home craft room. Mm-hmm. This is what I use. I'm very open and transparent about my entire process that I show in these videos, and here are the supplies that I'm using for it. And you can get these, and here are the links, and just making it very easy for someone that is brand new and watches one of my videos that they can pick up these same supplies and be able to replicate the process at home and have just as much success as I had the first time I screen printed.
Yeah, you definitely have a gift with taking processes and breaking it down into bits that most people can probably understand and actually grab onto and learn how to do these things. So I applaud you for that, because I know that's not easy. What I wanted to understand too is what, I guess, drove you to looking at connecting with us?
Well, like I said, I was just, as I was learning the process myself, watching videos, I know some of the very first videos I watched and learning the process was watching Ryan's videos on screen printing. And as I kind of figured out the process, I knew the next step to get me to the next level in my printing was getting a flash dryer. So I reached out to you guys to see about a flash dryer and understand what it did and how it worked. And I know we hooked up and added that to my craft space. And that was another one of those next steps in my process when I went from, using a screen printing press was a big change for me. And then adding a flash dryer was another big step in my process. And so it's been, a great partnership from there. We've gone from working together with a flash dryer to I've taught classes with Ryan, and now being able to work together on creating products. It's been a great partnership ever since that first initial email.
Yeah. No, I love it. And it's really cool to see now. If you guys haven't seen it, there is actually the Pigskin and Pigtails starter press, which I think is super rad. It's definitely opened up our eyes to how to make things a little more simplified and very much what's needed. So I'm glad that we can partner up with you on that.
Yeah.
So some of the things that I wanted to understand, in this, getting to know your background and where you've gone, how do you balance like what drives you as far as your creative needs and what you want to do on the creative side of like Jennifer and your business? Like, how do you balance those two and make them work together?
Well, most of the projects that you see me posting about are projects that I am making to, either wear myself or for my family. I am always trying to print things that are relevant to what we're doing. So if you look back at my videos, you've seen us through holidays and family vacations and family reunions. Everything I'm printing is really what's happening in our life, and then just sharing the process of how I'm making these as I go. But the designs I'm using is just kind of my creative outlet and being able to create the designs, and then also just the personal touch of just being able to see as my kids have grown, and you've gotten to see their first day of school shirts all the way through now being able to see some of their their sports gear and things as they've gotten older. And so I've just shared some of that through my designs, and that's just been a great creative outlet for me. And the fact that I can tie that into what I'm doing for my business has been just a great way to pull it all together.
That's awesome. What's one of the most memorable things that you've done, like a project that you've worked on or something you've created that really took off?
Gosh, I've done so many really fun ones over the years. I've done some really special projects. I did one for a special friend whose husband passed away, and she asked me to screen print on some of his handkerchiefs as a special gift that she gave out to some family members. And that was probably the most nerve-wracking project I did, because I knew if I messed up, there wasn't a backup. I've screen printed, t-shirts for so many things, lots of things for my kids over the years. It's hard to pick one favorite, but I think that the fun part about this whole journey has just been the ease of being able to just come up with an idea, cut the design, and print anything. So, whether it's, the night before my kids need something for school, or whether it's, we did a really special one for a young kid in our town that was going through chemo, and we were able to make shirts for his whole kindergarten class. I mean, it's just the ability to make a t-shirt and make a huge impact has just been, it's so special that you can make something and it's fun and it's creative, but it can be so much more.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I love the business too. I think t-shirts are really important.
Yeah.
And what they can do and what they can touch and what they can influence, and how they can really connect people and ideas and events and all the great things that we live for. So you keep bringing into it how a lot of this is just like, you have this idea, you want to do it. And it seems like that's what leads everything that you do. But you also have a pretty successful business. So how does that follow so easily is what it sounds like. I mean, how much time are you actually spending on your business strategy that will help you maybe drive a cadence of what you're going to do and when you're going to do it creatively? Like, is there a lot of focus on the back end, the business side, and how you organize and plan and market?
Gosh, that's changed, and I try to continue to improve that over time. I mean, as a creative person, I tend to spend a lot more of, I enjoy more of the creative side. I have to really focus more on the business side and kind of rein myself back in to remind myself that I need to be more business driven some days. Yeah. But, I've launched some courses, some digital products that allow me to, offer some support that kind of go along with these videos that I create. So I'm posting to social media every day. That does take a lot of time to edit and create the content for.
Is it all you? Are you doing all of it?
Well, I have a little bit of help. Okay. My brother actually works with me and does some behind the scenes work. But otherwise, it's me creating the videos, editing them. And so there's a lot to it. I'm in a day doing everything from filming a video to, publishing it on Instagram to looking for keywords and hashtags and all of that. So there's a lot to it. And I wish I could say I had a perfect, funnel of how things work, but a lot of it is just trying things out and figuring out this has evolved as social media changes all the time. And so kind of figuring out what works, and that game plan has changed and is still changing all the time as I'm figuring it out. But the business side of things is just kind of understanding that, you want to be able to have a goal in all of this. So, I want to teach people this process, and whether that is through, offering them a course or teaching some in-person classes. And, my YouTube channel does well. And so it's just kind of balancing all of those and being able to direct people to some of those channels to help support and be able to then have the time to be able to go out and create all these other fun, inspirational videos at the same time.
Awesome. Well, my next question, I think is relevant, especially in the maker and creator space, with where we're at today, technology, AI, right? You saying you do all this yourself, I have to ask, like, have you started leveraging any forms of AI or help and assistance to help expedite some of the processes and things that you do for creating content or posting or anything else with the business?
I've looked at it a little bit, but it's still a little overwhelming to me as someone who has, done everything myself. It's really hard to figure out where to leverage that. So I definitely use it here and there to help with, when I get stuck on an idea, being able to help it generate some title ideas or something. I haven't leaned on it much more than that yet, but I definitely see that coming. It'd be amazing if I could just have it come up with a design for me and that's all ready to go. But
yeah, that was my next question is, have you used it for artwork in any capacity?
I've tried. I just haven't been able to have it successfully generate something that I can just run with. Mm-hmm. But, I'll put some, thoughts into it, and then maybe it just helps get me going when I'm kind of stuck for an idea. Mm-hmm. So use it to kind of help you when you're in a, creative rut and you need some ideas, but I haven't been able to really get it to, become another employee or duplicate myself and helping me, do tasks to that effect. But I think that it could be one day really helpful, but for now,
sure,
not yet.
Yeah. So back to the business side of Pigskin and Pigtails, what strategies have you used to monetize, across your platforms and what you do while still staying true to, your vision and being authentic in what you create?
Yeah. So while, seeing my account grow has been really exciting, and seeing lots of followers and getting a video that has lots of views is very exciting. I think that the bigger picture of it and seeing this as a business is really creating a community. That's what has really helped me sustain this over the years is connecting with a group of people through each social channel, and really understanding what they're looking for, who they are, what, where they are in this process of whether they're, wanting to learn how to screen print, whether they're just a creative person and they found my account as just, something interesting to try one day. But building a community and posting my content that I think will connect with those people, that's what drives me in coming up with what I'm going to post next is thinking about it in terms of what do they want to see? What do they want to learn next? And getting feedback from them when they comment on my videos and ask questions. I use that to create the next pieces of content. So I'm always looking for their feedback or asking them in polls and in questions what do you want to see next? And that's how I'm creating the next pieces of content. And I think that has been the key in continuing to get views and comments and all the engagement on videos is that I'm keeping them involved in this process, because that's why I'm posting. I'm posting videos to help people understand this process and help teach them how to screen print. So if I'm posting and nobody's responding, then then I'm not doing a good job of teaching them the process. But if I'm posting and they're asking questions and I can take those questions and in the next video answer those, and then they have other questions, that's really what's kept social media as like a hub for us to learn and grow and understand this process together. So that's really how I've, looked at my social media accounts. So to me, the number of followers really doesn't matter in the big picture. It's really just about how I can stay connected with the people that want to learn this process that I enjoy sharing about.
Yeah. Have you ever published something and really felt like it was a really big miss, like a flop?
No, every time I publish something, I look at it and I think, okay, that really resonated. Or if it doesn't, I don't necessarily see it as a flop. I see, okay, where did I miss the connection? So I'm trying to analyze it in terms of, did they not want that type of information? Was it a different style that maybe they didn't, recognize as they're going through their feed? If you'll notice, I try to keep my style very similar, because as we're flipping through social media, that's usually what gets people to recognize you, is it's the same style of video. So keeping that consistent. So if a video doesn't do well, I don't usually get upset about that. I use it as a learning experience to try and figure out, okay, why did that not connect with my audience, and be able to make adjustments for the next video.
Yeah. I know that you're very analytical, even just from what you're sharing, you really look at everything in retrospect to try to see what could have happened differently. Over the years, when you started to really build your community, what were some of the challenges that you faced? And I'm asking this question because maybe there's viewers, right, that they have other passions and interests, maybe not even related to creating and screen printing, but maybe they want to be a creator, right, and have a platform on YouTube or whatever else. If you could share the challenges, right, that you've run into, and then like what advice you might give someone that's starting out that wants to create, a community around one of their interests, what could you share?
Well, first, I think you have to find something that you really enjoy doing, because it almost has to become, an obsession, because you have to enjoy doing it or you're going to get burned out really quickly. In order to grow a community, you're going to have to post really frequently. And so you just need to really enjoy the process, because if you enjoy it, you're going to be excited to create that next video. And that's really what's helped me stay consistent over the years, is that I really have fun creating these videos. I think you have to enjoy the editing and the piece to social media of actually just getting creative with the trends and that sort of thing. If you don't enjoy that part of social media, then it's going to be really hard to keep up with it. But then just, figuring out, being creative and being willing to like try different things and see what resonates with your audience, and just experimenting and having fun with it. I think that you can't put a whole lot of pressure on yourself to expect a whole lot of results. And one thing I learned was that it takes a while for it to pick up. So in the beginning, I was just doing a lot of this, just like I said early on, like just for fun. I was enjoying posting about it, and it was great to be able to share what I was making. And even though not a lot of people were commenting or anything, I enjoyed that as my creative outlet. And then as more people followed along and I was building more of that community and they were asking questions, I was enjoying sharing answers to those questions. So my biggest piece of advice is just to find something you absolutely love doing, because otherwise you're going to get burned out of talking about it.
Sure. Yeah. What about challenges though? What were some of the biggest challenges, or maybe the single most biggest challenge, right, that you've experienced along the way?
Gosh, probably balancing the time it takes to like create all the videos and be able to afford doing that. So, posting to social media and getting views does not pay. It doesn't pay the bills. So you have to get, have some kind of plan as to what is your goal in building this community, is that's going to be able to monetize your your efforts so that you can continue to do this. So that was one of the challenges early on. As I started posting, yes, it's fun and you're getting lots of views and followers and stuff, but how long can you sustain without, making money off of that? So that was where I started to build out some digital products and courses, putting together some of these videos that I was making into a course where it was a little easier for people to follow along off of social media without ads. And that's where I was able to afford to then be able to continue to make content.
So you shared, a part of your journey here was figuring out ways to monetize. You had some pretty great success with some digital products, right? Bringing value to your audience and also to yourself. And now you're in the world of helping create some physical, tangible things that people use that hopefully make creating things even easier, right? For example, the press, that we released just not that long ago. What was the I guess the interest in doing that? Like, what did you see the need to be for making a press for a starter?
Yeah, so in using a screen printing press from my house and from just working with my community and understanding everyone's challenges of using what I was using in the Riley Hopkins press, and a lot of people I was talking to were limited on space, and I was teaching how to use the Riley Hopkins to print multiple colors, and you can do it, but it's challenging to register every screen on a one color press.
And to be clear, you're talking about the Riley 150, yes, one color, one station.
Yes, correct? Exactly. So I did end up getting a 4-color press in my craft room. Like, I had to move everything out of the way and put it in the middle of the room. By the time I put my frames on it, I really had to clear my room out for it to work. It took up a lot of space. It wasn't very practical, so I really didn't use it that much unless I really had a project where I needed to clear out the room for it. So I show a little bit of that in my videos over the years, but as I was showing that, I was finding that other people just also didn't have the room for it. So I was showing people how to register multiple colors on a 1-color press. It was very difficult. So I had this idea of needing a press that was still just as compact as that one, but being able to do multicolor, and connected with you guys on this idea. And it's just been really exciting to see that come to life in a really small space that, you don't have to have a whole shop set up, and you can print a multicolor shirt. So that was the driving factor, was just talking to people and understanding that there are people that want to be able to print shirts from home, and they don't have a lot of space to work with, but we want to be able to still do some pretty cool stuff. And so just trying to take some of that feedback and some challenges that I was having with my space and put that into a press that I think does the job really well.
So it sounds like you were kind of the liaison from your audience, right? And translating that into a product, through a company that can manufacture it, and here we are, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's been my motivating factor on everything, all the products, is really just hearing challenges that my community has, and usually those are things that I can relate to as well, because we're in this together. Like, from the beginning, they've been along on this journey with me from day one. The very first video was me screen printing and learning this process. So my very first videos are me figuring this process, and they've been along this journey with me and seen some of my creative hacks and trying to figure out this process. And over the years, I've added equipment, and I've gotten better at the process and tried different inks and different equipment to make the process better. And so they've grown with me as I figured this out. And so it just, we've got that relationship now where we know each other's challenges, and that feedback has definitely helped me understand what products are needed out there for people like us.
Awesome. And I can't imagine that you're done right here, right? So are there any other ideas and problems that you're trying to address with the solution currently? Whether
Yeah.
you can share it or not? I mean, are there things going in the wheelhouse right now?
Well, I'm loving this idea of the press being so portable that I can just take it with me anywhere. So I'm definitely looking at the other pieces to the puzzle of being able to dry and cure the shirt and be able to take the press on the go, whether it's packing it up in the car or whatever, and in as compact of a space as possible. So definitely looking at the different components to make that as easy as possible, because I think space saving is important, and just making the whole process just so simple that we can set it up anywhere and make a t-shirt.
It's cool. Most screen print shops aren't, itching to like travel all over the place. So what are you doing with your press when you're on the go? Like, what's causing you to be on the go with the press?
I think I've had fun. I just recently took my press down the street to the Boys and Girls Club and introduced screen printing to a group of teens, and they never realized how a t-shirt was made. And so
Sure. Yeah.
before that, I had taken it out to a little festival and screen printed locally, and just the reaction of people being able to screen print their very first shirt is priceless. So I'm enjoying that so much of just spreading the joy of screen printing and teaching people that this is totally doable from your kitchen counter or whatever space you have. So I enjoy teaching the process, but I also enjoy seeing people's face for the first time when they get to print their shirt. So that's why I love being able to take it on the road, is just being able to experience that with people.
Yeah. Over the years, have you ever had anyone from your audience or followers like reach out to you and share anything like heartfelt about how you've inspired them and how they've started their business or had any success?
Yeah, lots. Yeah, that's probably one of the things that's just kept me going over the years, is just lots of people saying that they've started businesses from this or done a fundraiser for a special cause. I mean, those are, gosh, just touching moments that, I think when you look at screen printing, it can sound so overwhelming, but when you break it down and when we look at, the process that we're using, you can do this. It's just, I think a lot of people are just scared to get started. And one of my goals is just to show people that just go for it. What do you have to lose? Like, just try it out. There's not really a risk in sticking some vinyl on your screen and trying the process. So the outcome can be enormous. You could be changing lives with whatever you're printing. And so it's been very rewarding in terms of how many people have started businesses and done things for their family, after watching videos. So it's definitely been rewarding.
Yeah. And as far as businesses, your own Pigskin and Pigtails, what goals do you have? I mean, what are your ambitions for the next couple of years? I mean, what's next for you?
Gosh, that's a hard one. I'm just enjoying the process, and I've just, when I started this blog, I had no idea I'd be sitting here talking to you guys. I mean, or even back to when I was learning this process and watched Ryan's videos. I mean, I had no idea I'd be working with you to create a press and all these products. So it's just been more than I could have dreamt of. So who knows where we're going to go with this, but hopefully just continuing to inspire lots of people to start a business, because that's been so rewarding for me and my family, and being able to, be present with my kids and all of their sports, and being able to be there for everything. Having a business has allowed me that freedom. And so I love being able to show people a potential avenue to start their own business. So hopefully I can just keep spreading the word that screen printing can do that for a lot of people.
I hope so too. I think you will.
Thanks.
Yeah.